Hello for the eighth Sunday in Ordinary Time, using the first reading, book of Sirach, Sirach 27, 4-7, and the Gospel, Luke 6, 39-45. It deals with speaking from the heart and truth. Boy, there has been an awful lot of talk in our country this past week on the hearings relative to Michael Cohen and Congress, the House of Representatives, asking questions, making statements, giving answers. And when all this is happening, it's interesting, but sort of depressing, because I keep on saying, what's truth? Who tells the truth? I just thought the readings today, especially the last sentence in the first reading from Sirach, and the last sentence in the Gospel from Luke, and they go like this. In Sirach says, praise no one before he or she speaks, for it is then that people are tested. 200 years before Christ. 200 years after Sirach, Christ. The last sentence in the Gospel. For from the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks. What's in that heart of mine, or yours, or ours, that's what comes out. What is deep down in our heart. And so many significant, important people speak, and they speak from the heart. You know, the Pope Francis speaks a lot from the heart. The president speaks a lot from his heart. Parents have been speaking to their children for millennia, and children have been speaking back to parents forever. The church speaks, and you and I speak, and it comes from our heart. And some is good and some is bad. Some is true and some is false. It comes from our hearts. And Sirach goes on and he talks about, well, what comes out of our mouth, it's like a sieve and wheat. And you shake the sieve and the large husk and so forth are in it. It shows, they come out and you can see what is really coming out and what that is in the heart. Sirach. I find that to be interesting. And we're all trying to figure out what comes out of the hearts of these men and women, and what's good and what's bad, what's true and what's false. Jesus, to a certain extent, in that gospel, talks about blind disciples and so forth. And like a blind person, in a sense, is like a heart that doesn't have the truth, a heart that can't see the truth, a heart that is not in concurrence with the way God made us. It's like a blind person. He or she can't see. And Jesus said, if you have blind people and they're leading blind people, well, they're both going to fall into the pit. Really? Yes. If you have people who don't understand what reality is, or the message of God, or how we have been created and made, and you lead other people in that direction, both of us are going to fall into the pit. Pretty good, I think. And that blind syndrome, or that blind example that Jesus used, Sirach then goes back, or Jesus talks about a tree, a good tree and a bad tree. Well, a good tree can't bear bad fruit. It bears good fruit. You ever belonged to or received a present from that Harry and David's, the Fruit of the Month Club? Those must be fine trees, because those grapefruits and those pears and those oranges and whatever, you get some of the best fruit you can really get. It looks good, it smells good, and it tastes good. It comes from a good tree. Well, our hearts is like a tree. A good heart, you get good stuff out of it, and truth, and communicating the way God made things to be. Well, then Jesus said, well, you can't get, a rotten tree. You're never going to get good fruit from a rotten tree. And it's true, same thing. Sometimes our hearts can be rotten. And what comes out of a rotten heart is not good. I find it interesting asking myself, what is truth? And sometimes it seems like it's so messed up that it's impossible to know the truth. Jesus talks about a disciple and a teacher. Well, the disciple isn't there to teach the teacher. The teacher is there to teach the disciple. And you know what? The people in Jesus' day called him rabbi. Translation, teacher. Jesus never went to rabbinical school. He never became a Pharisee. Well, he's the Son of God. And he was teaching the message of his Father. And he was teaching it out of his heart. And we made statues and so forth of the Sacred Heart, where truth comes out of the heart and it's meaningful. And the people called him Rabbi. Isn't that interesting? Well, he should be. The Father is God, sent him with a message. And Jesus was to try to teach the message of Jesus Christ. And he did it in truth. And he did it from his heart. I find that to be very good stuff in today's world. And especially if it gets me started from Sirach. On Friday, from the book of Sirach, the opening lines were this, what I'm trying to say, I think. The opening, Sirach says, a kind mouth multiplies friends and appeases enemies, and gracious lips prompt friendly greetings. A kind mouth, gracious lips, project and speak truth, project and speak goodness. Don't we in our society need truth and goodness and the message that Jesus Christ is trying to proclaim, trying to tell us what the Father wants him to proclaim and us to listen to? Have a good day.